Hey there, I'm Dr. Coco Cabral, the Flamenco Dancing MD, and welcome to Dr. Coco's Flame Zone, where I teach you how to use the arte of flamenco with the science of how our bodies are built to get you strong, flexible, and recovered in body, mind, and spirit. Today, we are going to do wrist relief. I know that you are probably experiencing wrist soreness, stiffness, pain, perhaps from long days of typing at the computer or scrolling on the phone a bit much, or perhaps changing channels, binge watching, choosing something. Now, recently, when I did a news segment with a reporter who is also a yoga instructor, I was surprised when I was showing her this wrist move that I'm going to show you to give us a little fun intro into our news segment. We were doing it and she was like, "Oh, this is such a relief." And I was like, "Wow, why is it that much of a relief for you?" And she said, as a yoga instructor, her hands are off mostly in this position and hardly ever in this position. So this was a great relief for her. So let's do wrist relief for you. Sitting with great posture or standing, hold a beach ball, stretch out pinkies and thumbs, and circle the wrists around, trying to get the full 360 degrees of these wrist circles. All right, and it's really important to keep the elbows stationary. So, I'm going to show you some different angles so you can see my elbows. Woohoo, I got to scooch. There we go. Elbows nice and stationary. Let's reverse the direction of these wrist circles so that we get the full relief here. And let me know in the comments if you feel as much relief in your wrists as apparently my reporter friend did. And now let's talk science. Okay, let's talk anatomy, physiology, and biomechanics of wrist to take care of your wrist pain, stiffness, soreness, immobility, maybe from an old injury, a previous surgery, repetitive movements, if you've got carpal tunnel symptoms or full-blown syndrome. Let's talk about how to get your wrist or wrists strong, flexible, and recovered. I've got my drawing board all set up for you here, but before we talk details, let's talk about the one thing you need to do to get success and results. And that one thing is consistency. So when this video ends, hit replay. Watch the exercise demo and look for the pop-ups that have my pro tips. You'll see that I recommend a small number of repetitions to do 3 times throughout your day. And I recommend 3 times when you're doing something else that you do anyway. That makes it super simple to incorporate into your day and get success with consistency. Also, I highly recommend setting a weekly schedule to follow that pro tip. So you can do this exercise every day, every other day, bare minimum once a week. All right. The final thing is, if you have not subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe and be sure to click that little bell next to the subscribe button so you'll be notified every time a new wrist relief video is posted, because I have many more up my proverbial sleeve. So let's get to the drawing board. I've got in white the bones and in pink the muscle groups involved in the wrist. We'll start at the top with the bottom part of the bone of the upper arm. And then in the forearm, we've got 2 bones. And this drawing is of a left arm in this position with the palm facing you. On the pinky side, we've got the ulna. On the thumb side, we've got the radius. In the wrist itself, we've got 8 pebble-like bones arranged basically in 2 rows. And then coming off of that second row, we've got our 4 fingers. I just drew 4 sticks because this is not a finger conversation. And the thumb. This solid pink line represents a group of muscles called the flexor group. And the fleshy contracting parts of those muscles are located pretty close into the elbow on this side. And then the pink dotted line represents the complementary group called the extensor group. And those are located, the fleshy parts or contracting parts of the muscles are located basically here. And these muscle groups both send their long string-like tendons to the wrist, and some of those tendons extend into the hands and fingers and thumb. So the way this works is when you contract up here, the tendons are pulled kind of like strings, and you get the movement at the wrist. You can also get this movement, you can get this movement towards the pinky, you can get this movement towards the thumb. So in this episode's exercise, we contract the muscles kind of in a series to get the wrist to move around in a circle. And you'll notice in the exercise, I have you also extend your pinkies and thumbs out to the sides. That's a bonus movement to specifically work the muscles that are dedicated to the pinkies and the thumbs. So let's take all this knowledge and apply it to a flamenco fantasy.